Midwest Speedfest Runner Spotlight. We've got yet another awesome runner. We have got Mickely here. How are you doing, man?
Pretty good. Are you sure you're live? I'm not seeing it.
Oh, it is live. Maybe did I? I definitely put in the stream key and everything. Yeah, let's double check that.
Still says you're hosting Professor Palmer.
Oh, it says
There
it's
it is.
live. Yeah,
Hey,
there it
it
is. Just takes a while sometimes.
Cool.
Twitch trying to debate us or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, having a nice weekend, chilling.
Practicing.
Nice.
I am out of practice right now, so definitely getting geared up for next weekend.
It's gonna be a sick run. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it is. It's broken. It's very broken.
Yeah. So, why don't you start off by telling us just about yourself, history at speedrunning? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Mickely. I mean, I guess from the start, that name came from, been using it for forever, since 6th grade, I think. My friends said my last name like really fast, and that's where that name came from.
Nice.
I don't know, just kind of stuck. But for speedrunning itself, I mean, I started streaming back in 2012, I think. Just kind of on the side for fun, whatever, off my Xbox, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And really just, doing normal streamer type stuff, random playthroughs of things and whatever. And that continued probably all the way up until 2015, 2016, when I really started to get involved with the speedrunning scene a lot more.
Nice.
I had seen, Games Done Quick on YouTube in like 2013, and it really caught my attention, especially Runner Guy's 100% run of Ocarina of Time. That's kind of what triggered a lot of stuff for me.
Oh yeah.
And so I just started, following the scene more and more, but I didn't really have a game that really interested me very much.
Okay.
So just kind of followed it, started volunteering in SGDQ 2015. And that's when I really started to get even more involved and got my feet wet with a lot of actual runs and that sort of thing. And I think it was that fall when I started speedrunning an old arcade game from 1991, Sunset Riders.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So that, I mean, I played that game at the arcade hours and hours and hours growing up. So it was a natural fit for me. It was like, I really enjoyed this game. I could see myself playing it for a long time, and I've played it already for a long time, so I won't get bored of it.
Right.
And yeah, speedran that for, goodness, a year and a half probably. And then towards the end of that was kind of looking for my next project.
Okay.
And that's when Hollow Knight hit. Hollow Knight released, and I played through it casually like a month after it released, and then started speedrunning it shortly after. So yeah, then I've been running it ever since, continuing to run any number of categories in it and do bingos and randomizer, and really just being involved with that whole scene, as it's grown.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of cool to be one of the older people with that game since it's been out. So
Yeah. I think the games you pick are super cool. For one, an arcade game is like, it's a type of game not a lot of people pick. And I really appreciate when people start like running arcade games, and then also Metroidvanias are just the best.
yeah, I mean, the arcade game, it's a really old shoot 'em up, so it's very linear, and Hollow Knight is wide open, especially when you start using glitches and stuff to go wherever you want. So it's definitely a sandbox for people like me, which is great.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how that it changed so drastically in terms of games. Like you have this very linear and then game, and it's all of a sudden it's you can go anywhere now because it's meant for yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So
All right,
um, there's not much that you can do that's super special in Sunset Riders. So
just kind of vanilla.
was a nice game to get my feet wet, I would say, with the whole thing.
Yeah, we all need those kind of games just to
Hmm.
get started. All right, so let's go into talking a bit more about Hollow Knight. So previously on Midwest Speedfest, we've seen all scales, but now you're doing a new category, 100%. So what's going to be added in this run compared to what we've seen before?
Sure. So all skills, you're directly going for all the major upgrades in the game, like all your spells, all your movement abilities, and that sort of thing. And the category kind of ends with that. So 100% takes it to the next step, and you get 100% of the items in the game, or of the important items, the things that give you percent.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, then we'll see, all the bosses that give you percentage points. So it's a lot more of the game, and with that comes a lot more that's completely broken. There's some really broken stuff that's in all skills that was seen, a year ago,
Yeah.
but 100% is just, I would say, a showcase of all the really useful glitches in the game to a point where it gets just absolutely ridiculous. So
That's awesome.
it takes the glitched part of the game and turns it to 11, where it was, like a 4 or 5 before. So
That's one of
pretty
the
nuts.
it's one of the really cool things I think about Hollow Knight. You see a lot of Metroidvania runs, and they can be kind of more glitchless. For example, like Super Metroid, there's not a ton of super wild glitches in it. But then Hollow Knight, you come in and there's you could just float through certain areas, and there's this wild stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot that's broken. The I would say glitchless community of Hollow Knight is still the dominating force of the game. So the glitched community is basically me and probably 2 other people,
Okay.
which is, if people are familiar with speedrunning in general, is kind of backwards from what it usually is, or what it's been historically.
Yeah.
But that's kind of changing, I would say, now, with a lot of newer people getting into the scene and the scene gaining a lot of popularity. Is people want to get into the games that they like, but also in a way that they were used to playing it. So glitchless and no major glitch categories are becoming, I would say, the norm over glitched categories, especially with newer games.
Yeah, that's kind of the trend, which is kind of interesting because you kind of think of speedrunning, and then you kind of start thinking of glitches, but then it's kind of been taking a different kind of angle recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Makes me a little bit sad, but it the more people that get involved with it, the better. So,
sure. It's all preference, right? And
yep.
yeah. All right. So you were talking about the Hollow Knight community. There's that kind of glitched versus glitchless divide. What are some other things going on in the Hollow Knight community?
Um, so there's been a lot of modding that's happened with it. So if you have it on PC, a whole list of mods are available to change up your game, and the big ones I would say are definitely randomizer for sure.
Yep.
Um, a lot of people love to play that, and a brand new version of randomizer has come out very recently that also includes randomizing the areas of the game and the rooms of the game. There's a couple different modes with that, so, and a ton of configurable settings and all that sort of stuff. So that's been a really big community type thing we've been playing, and a lot of times we'll couple that with bingo, which is really just a 5x5 bingo card with a bunch of random goals on it from the game. So go kill this boss and go collect these things and that sort of thing. gives a new objective to the game rather than just beating the game from start to end. So it's a cool way to use the game knowledge to it in a new way. So and add some life back to the game,
Right.
which is great.
Two things. One, I can't believe it's not called Bingoob. What a disgrace. And then, and then two, the bingo kind of stuff is really cool for this game, especially because you've got all these tools at your disposal, and the routing can be so open. So, what is the routing sort of like for this game? Did you dive a lot into that, or were you more so I'm gonna focus on doing the runs?
Um, at first it was very much I'm just gonna do what other people are doing already because I didn't know that much about the game and wasn't completely familiar with every single room in the game and that sort of thing.
Mm.
But recently, I mean, the 100% route, I'm the only one that's run it, and I'm the only one that's routed it. So uh, it's been kind of my first stab at truly routing a category from start to finish. Um, Actually, that's not true because I routed all skills as well. So um, those would be my two big projects, though. And with that, there's been reroutes and new discoveries and that sort of thing since I first did them. But 100% has kind of been pretty close to the original route. There hasn't been much that has changed with that one. Um, and part of that too is just that not many other people are running the category to help optimize it and find new
Mm.
route divergences and that sort of thing. Um, so the route that I'm going to be running next week is basically what I routed it out to be a year ago. So yeah.
Hey, that's pretty cool though, because it's like whenever people find something in the route, it's like this is my thing. Like I contributed this, but you contributed all of it. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
doing all of that. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was a. I sat down on a stream and just had a notepad out and a map of the game out and routed it in. I think it took me 3 or 4 hours just sitting there, coming up with different ideas. And I'm surprised it was that short, to be honest. But it kind of just fell into place. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
kind of surprised it was so short too. I kind of would have expected it would have taken like many days, and it was just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that.
There were optimizations that happened later,
Okay.
but I would attribute a lot of the original route to my experience with randomizer because that randomizers in general just will give you a wealth of game knowledge that you didn't know you needed. So
Hmm.
just random stuff that you would never otherwise need. So yeah, definitely helps with game knowledge.
Right. Yeah, just having that like you got to do it differently every time, so like that helps a ton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, how did you use some of the glitches in Hollow Knight for the routing? Like, explain some of like the glitches and how did you use them when routing 100%?
Oh goodness. Um. Well, the main idea of routing 100% is to visit each area only one time, um, because then you're not spending multiple minutes to go and revisit an area again. So
Yeah.
the main idea is basically that. So at the very beginning of the route, I'm getting all the super essential things. Just kind of going out on a long trek to grab that item and then go somewhere else, grab one more item, grab one more item, and then that's when I start full clearing areas. Um, I think after about 25 to 30 minutes into the run, it's all just full clearing areas for the rest of the time. So um, yeah, so when setting up the route for that, I mean, with the glitches available to the run, um, float being a big one, being able to go out of bounds being a big one,
Hmm.
being able to get through walls at some points being a big one. um,
Man.
it it really just came down to, okay, what's the most optimal area to go to next to clear it out. And some of the smaller details when you're in that sub area are where some of the optimizations came from, but the overall like backbone of the route is it hasn't really changed. So um I'm sure there is a better route out there to be found yet, but yeah, it's pretty efficient as it is now. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. It definitely reminds me of Super Metroid a lot, where it's some things are kind of similar to like any percent, but then you grab this item or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it diverges pretty quickly from any percent though. Any percent, you go and get some key movement abilities, and then you basically just go beat the game. But 100%, you get kind of half of those. No, I guess you do get all the same movement abilities right away, but then you start clearing stuff.
Hmm.
So
So then all the fun begins. The glitches.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
you mentioned games done quick earlier, and know you've done Hollow Knight there before, and you were also couching when visuals opened. So what were those experiences like?
um Pretty nuts. The so AGDQ 2018, I got any percent in, glitched any percent, kind of like the halfway glitched category. um we have a full glitched category that is pretty nuts, um, where you go out of bounds at any transition you want to. But the
Wow.
downside with that is that glitch is load dependent. So if you have a slightly slower PC, that glitch is very easy. But if your
Oh.
PC, once it gets better and better, becomes more difficult to pull off, and sometimes is impossible to pull off. So
Oh.
very early on in the life of Hollow Knight, we kind of separated those two from each other. Um, and not until about 6 to 12 months ago was anybody running that category, until we changed the rules a little bit to allow um, a load extender that adds 1 second to every load across the board.
Wow.
And so that makes it possible for any PC to do that category, which is great. But also a little bit of a turnoff for me because you're modifying your game to be able to run a category. So um, it's very, very broken. But yeah, I've kind of gone off on a tangent from your original question now. But
No, it's all good.
um, so yeah, I got this like semi glitched or mostly glitched -1 category into HDQ 2018, and I had submitted it just like, whatever. NMG had been in, or glitchless as it was called then, by Oro, was run at SGDQ 2017, so the direct marathon before the one that I got in. And so I was expecting absolutely um,
Yeah.
and submitted it, thought nothing of it. Was playing D&D the night the schedule came, or the games list came out, and just like randomly opened up the page once to look what got in, and saw my name on there, and freaked out during the middle of our D&D session and said, I need to take a break because this just happened. So yeah, that was a hell of a night for sure.
Oh yeah. You gotta love that kind of surprise. It's like, so whoa, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, especially because it was in the marathon before, so I thought I had zero chance to get in.
Hmm.
Same game, 2 marathons in a row. Didn't think I had a chance, especially some small indie game. So um although since then it's kind of become a cult classic, or like a cult, favorite of a lot of people. So
Yeah.
it's really become popular. I wouldn't say necessarily as a speed game, but just in the general population, a lot of people really love the game. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool to see.
I love the story of this game, right? It starts as this small indie game and then it just kind of blows up and people just love it and then it gets to be shown everywhere and it's
Hmm.
great. It's a great story.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of came out, I would say, around the same time that Celeste did. And in a lot of circles, Celeste kind of overshadowed it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like to point to the sales of it, that Hollow Knight just dwarfs Celeste in comparison.
Does it
But
really?
who's bragging here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Hollow Knight has sold in the multiple millions of copies, and Celeste, I don't know what it's at now. I think they released on the Switch recently or something. I don't know. Maybe they
Yeah.
haven't, but they were at 500,000 before that release. So 6 times larger Hollow Knight was that at that point. So
Wow. I definitely didn't expect that one. I was gonna
I
think,
didn't either until
yeah,
I looked it up. So
the more you know, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And then what was it? AGDQ, I think, is when Visuals did his run
Yeah, it was
of Death Stranding.
AGDQ. Yep.
So a year after my run is when his got in. Um, so I'm hoping that 100% will be the next one to get into a GDQ, kind of ramping up from any percent glitchless, any percent glitched, like a fairly long glitchless run, and then 100% glitched run.
Yeah.
Kind of, I'm hoping that progression will be realized, but we'll see.
I'd love to see it. I think it's a really cool category for this type of game. So.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's my favorite for sure. Out of all the categories in the game, it's my favorite.
Hey, is it because you routed it?
I mean, there's part of that, if we're honest. Yeah, there's part of that to it, but I don't know. I love how much of a glitch showcase it really is, and how broken it is, and it shows just how broken the game can be. I don't know. Plus,
Yeah.
I really like longer categories too, where you get absolutely everything you can. So combination of factors, I think it's the most fun category, the most interesting category. So yeah,
I feel it.
just wish more people ran it.
Maybe we'll get some more people when we see it as the finale for Fest. That's gonna be really awesome.
I mean, to be fair, it is a bit daunting to look at as a first category to get into, so I get it.
Maybe they'll start getting over. Like, we'll get people to get into 100%. It's just part of the plan. It's just the wand game.
I'll hold on to that.
But yeah, look forward to that run as the finale for Fest 2019. That's going to be super awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll hope. It's very dangerous, especially in the first 40 minutes.
Okay.
So I might die 2 or 3 times, but
yeah, you got this. I believe. And will this be the first time Hollow Knight has closed for a marathon? I don't think I've seen it close before.
Goodness. It's been in a bunch of marathons.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think this is the first time it's been the closer. It's been in the middle point of a lot of marathons. But yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Cool to see it. Alright. So I'm gonna go. And there's just some other things outside of speedrunning here. Just kind of some fun facts about you. So, let's see. So you're a chemical engineer.
I am.
Yeah. So, that's a 2 million IQ sort of job. What is that kind of like?
It's kind of boring, actually. And there's a lot of things that you can do with it. I ended up in the pharmaceutical area, so that comes with a lot of red tape around it and a lot of meetings and that sort of thing. So it's not like, I don't know. It's hard to describe unless you you know it, but yeah. I mean, a lot of times people hear, "Oh, chemical engineer," and they think like the oil industry and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of those in there, but yeah, I don't get to do crazy fun stuff like that. I sit at my desk almost all day, so.
Hey, you're making the medicine though. We need that. So.
It goes into people's eyes, so.
That's important.
There's some cool stuff. There's some cool stuff coming out in that industry that we're working on, but yeah, like cataract type surgery and um, macular degeneration and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline that people are coming up with. So
Hey, that's awesome though. Um, so see you play a lot of games like Apex Legends in your stream. Is that a thing you've been playing a lot? The sort of battle royale type games, or
I wouldn't say battle royale type games. This is my
okay?
first. It's my first VR that I've ever really played. I grew up playing shooter games, especially I really took off with like Halo and Call of Duty and that sort of thing when I was younger. Um, I actually won some tickets to COD XP in LA when I was in college.
Oh, awesome!
I got like eighth place in a tournament, um, and got a ticket to that event, which was kind of cool. But um, yeah, so shooters are basically my background, FPS games. So on the side, I play, Apex. I played Overwatch for a couple years, just do that kind of stuff for fun. Um, it never really took off on my stream at all, so really, it's mostly just turned into a off-stream fun game to play.
Okay, that's cool though. Kind of did it start from like the Sunset Riders, and it sort of evolved, and then into the first-person type shooters, and
Maybe. Uh, I think I would probably attribute it a lot to my cousin growing up. Uh, they had, an original Xbox. Some of my friends did. I never did until much later. I had like an N64 and a PS2 and that sort of thing.
okay.
Um, really, though, I mean, probably like a lot of people on Twitch, been gaming my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Started out from an original Game Boy way back when with some Mario games, and it's been crazy since then. An
Yeah.
original Nintendo. I think I've owned like every single console. So
I feel you. It just keeps going. It's just a thing that
it keeps
stays.
going.
Yeah.
I'm PC Master Race now though, so
Hey, that's the way to go. I just appreciate that in Hollow Knight, because I have a crappy computer, there's a category that benefits me for having a bad computer.
not so much anymore, but
Yeah.
definitely used to be. Yeah, there was one runner that Risky CB. He's also been in a couple GDQ marathons for other games too, which is kind of cool. He used to run that glitched category with all glitches, and his computer was in like the perfect window to run that before we got the mod, which was, I don't know, we kind of made fun of him for it, that category was made for him. So
That's funny. Alright. Do you have any other hobbies you kind of do a lot, or is it mostly the gaming focus?
gaming is probably the big one, but I do some other stuff too. Like I golf a fair amount in the spring and summer. Winter sports are a big thing for me too. I play music. I've made some music, like produced some music, that sort of thing.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, I just wish I had more free time so I could do a lot more of that kind of stuff. But
I feel it. Uh, so it's funny that you mentioned the golf, because last Runner Spotlight, one of the runners said they also golfed, and we kind of had a joke going. It's like, all right, we got to golf now. So now you got to join our golf session? Is that going to happen?
When's it happening?
TBD. We don't know. Man, what sort of music do you make?
Um, some electronic music, some classical music. I have a very classical background. I grew up playing piano, violin mostly. Um, so that was, all the way through high school. So that's
Mm.
I would say the base that I have, and yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a dead music genre, but I still kind of like the sound of it too, and how complex a lot of it is. So I've made some classical music, yeah.
Yeah, if you like it, just do it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it. That's cool. All right. So, I'm gonna go into a little bit into any future goals and plans. I've seen you been trying out this game called Evergate. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
would that be something you're gonna keep pursuing in the future?
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that to release. So they are still developing that game right now and are targeting a release of this fall slash winter, like November or something. Um, they came out with a demo a number of months ago now. Um, just had five levels or something. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like a puzzle platformer with a bunch of different individual levels to go through. Um, and they're gonna have, I think they've said they have right now 115 of those levels.
Wow.
So they're still working out some of the mechanics that they want in it and that sort of thing, some of the different functions, whatever. The demo that they had was very basic, so I'm super excited to see where the game goes, especially the speed run, because the speed run that they had, I mean, the people that were grinding it got it down to 2 minutes and 15 seconds or something.
Jeez.
And it was an intense 2 minutes. So I can't wait to see what the full speed run turns into. 115 of these levels, going as fast as you can, and it's yeah, it was nuts. So that run's gonna be, I would guess, about an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour of this constant, movement. Plus, you're firing these lasers to basically, shoot a bunch of crystals to give you extra movement and that sort of thing. So it's gonna be crazy.
I really hope when the game comes out, it's exactly as you described, so then you could point to this video and be like, I called it right here.
Yeah, it'll be fun. That'll for sure be my next speed game. Yeah, and Silk Song coming out sometime. The next
Yeah.
game from Team Cherry, I don't know when that's coming out. No one knows. Yeah, that game will probably also be super broken, but we'll see if that ends up being something that's interesting to play and run and whatever. So it might not be. I'll probably play through it anyway, but yeah,
It's kind of in that we'll see kind of state.
it really is. Yeah, I've been saying for the last 2 years that June, apparently June 12th next year.
Is that what it's
I don't
coming
know.
out?
They must have just announced it or something recently,
Oh.
or maybe that's a fake release date or something that was leaked. I don't know.
It'll be out when it's out, I guess.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean they had, with the Switch release of Hollow Knight, they had said it would out. Goodness, it ended up coming out, I would say March of this year or something like that. February, March of this year.
Mm-hmm.
They had said, or was it later than that? I don't even remember anymore. Or maybe it was last year.
It's hard to remember those kind of dates.
It's all kind of mushed together now, but it came out like 6 or 8 months later than they said it originally was. So who knows?
Yeah. That the game dev cycle is hard. Takes a lot of it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've learned, I would guess, a lot of lessons from Hollow Knight, so maybe it'll be more on track to when they expect it to be, but you never know. Hollow Knight is a mess of code. It's bad. There's a lot of stuff in there that's completely unoptimized and just garbage. So, the game, I've said for forever that they're fantastic game designers, but terrible devs, for a number of reasons. But they design a great game. So, I would expect Silksong to have similar things, and they've kind of revealed to the modding community already that the backbone of the Silksong code will be very heavily based on what Hollow Knight is, and we'll be using some of that code too. So,
Okay.
from a performance perspective, I'm kind of expecting it to be very broken, like Hollow Knight is. But the stuff that we've seen already of the game, it looks like it's a fantastic design and that stuff again too. So, I would expect more of the same from what they've delivered of Hollow Knight, but we'll see.
So looking forward to it. I'm definitely gonna try it out when it comes out too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and now time for an extremely important question. Thoughts about pesto?
I knew it was coming. As soon as you said that, I knew it was going to be about pesto. I don't know. It's some meme they're coming up with. Pesto?
Pesto is the besto.
Yes. Like pesto sauce.
Yes. That's the whole meme. It's just pesto is pesto.
It's up there. It's one of my favorites. Ranch is also up there, but it's not really a sauce, so.
Could you combine it with the pesto? Or resto? Have the pesto with the resto?
Oh my god.
God.
Does that deserve this?
So, oh no! Oh no! That's oh, there we go. Webcam is back up now.
Ruin your stream on purpose?
Ruined the stream. Get to see why you do this, Mickely. Alright. Let's take a few viewer questions. That was the first question, literally. It was by I Have Newt. Thoughts on pesto? And then the chat.
I was not impested, no.
Now, if you have any quick questions you'd like to ask Mickely, now's a good time.
Or long questions.
Yeah.
Either or.
And then there's one question I always like to ask at the end is, do you have any sort of, like, personal aspiration or dream? You're like, what is your, like, personal aspiration or dream?
I have no dreams. I'm going nowhere.
I'ma just chill, and that's all I need.
No, I don't know. Streaming would always be super fun to do full time. I don't know that it would be like years and years worth of fun full time. One thing I think would be amazing and would be like future business dream. Well, I would like to own a business for one.
Okay.
And I think it would be super fun because I love audio type stuff to start a recording studio. Although there's not really a market for that around here. I mean, there kind of is around Minneapolis, but I don't know. I think that could be a fun, like, retire job, or, you know, it would be fun to do full time, but I don't think I would ever spend the money to risk all of it to jump into a job like that full time. So it might be a fun side hobby eventually, but
hey, that's a cool hobby though. Let's see. Yep, Newt asked the same thing. Mick lady coming by.
Same
Saying yikes, Mick.
Yeah, well, that's just our marriage, so. Say something original.
Okay, here we go. Jason28 asks, what would you do if you had a boat?
I would probably blare the song I'm on a boat and act it out one for one.
Nope.
It'd be super fun.
Do you have your flip-flops?
Yeah, and my swim trunks and my flippy floppies.
God. The end of this has just become ridiculous.
I definitely wouldn't fish or do anything like that, so I would, yeah. I'd bring people tubing and probably get a jet ski too, because jet skis are great. I would sail the pesto seas. Oh my god.
I feel like, on that note, on sailing the pesto seas, we'll just find someone to raid. So I've got some options here. Let me go pull them up. Let's see. So we're gonna pick from some past fest runners. Once my computer wants to cooperate. So there we go. All right, let's see. We have got, since we mentioned shooters, there was Benedictator. He's played some Overwatch. There's AJ213 playing some Cluster Truck. And
That's a fun game.
that is.
Is he running it? Because that's an impressive run.
He is running it. Did you want to raid him?
Sure.
All right, let's raid AJ213. Get that typed in. All right, but thank you so much, Mickely, for coming by. Be sure to check out his run, Midwest Speedfest 2019, as the finale. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an amazing run. Give some love to AJ213. And yeah, thank you all for coming. I hope you all have a great night.
See ya.